Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith. This is a Kickstarter preview for D-Day Dice by BoardGameGeek, and I want to thank them for sending me out a demo set that I was able to get in the mail here recently, and I was able to take a look and play a few rounds myself, and I'm really excited to actually show you guys how this plays. Again, this won't be a rules overview, it'll just show you kind of the rough turn order, the gameplay, that kind of thing. And again, remember, this is a prototype copy, so everything here is bare bones, and of course the game will be much larger and a bigger scale. This is just a portion, a very small portion of that. So again, all the cards are actually very low quality, again, because it's a prototype, and I really want to thank them for being able to send one to me, as well as the subscribers on the channel for mentioning my channel, because that's really kind of you to mention that I'd be interested in this game, and after taking a quick look at it, I definitely agreed to jump in on it. So we've got D-Day Dice in front of us. I'm going to remove the box. It's a single-player, multiplayer co-op game, and it's do or die. So I'll just give you a quick little look at the front cover there. We'll knock this away, and what we have here is a section of Omaha Beach. So obviously in the major final release, there's going to be, I believe, multiple different sheets of different scenarios to go through. This is just a portion or a very small tunneled version of one of the maps. But it's going to give you an idea of how this game plays, and that's really what all that really matters. So what we're going to do to start off is I've already created the regular specialist unit, and the reason that you're seeing the United States flag is because I've chosen the United States as my country. I do have a handful of others in the box that you can choose from, but I went with the States in this case. There's also at the bottom of the regular specialist deck a ranking specialist as well as a unique specialist that go into this pile, and they are essentially in kind of a pool area where you can purchase them. And you're going to use stars in order to purchase these things, and they're going to give you different abilities. So lieutenants, minesweepers, heroes, medics, all kind of thing. You'll notice that the stars are changing because they cost a certain amount to obtain them. And on a certain phase in the game turn sequence, you're going to be able to go ahead and pick these up. So we're going to put them over here because we'll be going through them as we rip through the game. Right here in the middle is awards. These are a little bit tougher to gain. You can see here they have quite a bit better results, or at least in terms of different things you can gain to your advantage in the game. So this one, for instance, is going to, each unit may ignore its final tally and change all of its dice results to these results. So wow, that's a really powerful card. Again, having that ability would be pretty incredible. These ones right here are the item cards. So these are just regular items. There's a whole bunch of them. Their cost in tools is at the top right corner. So some of them are all the way down to, I think maybe 5 is the lowest. Yeah, there's a 5 there. 7, I don't think it goes any lower than 5, but it goes all the way up to about 20 for this pile. These are items that we're allowed to purchase, and again, items are going to help us on our journey as we try to go from, obviously, the beachfront here all the way through this path right up to the bunker and try to actually take on the bunker itself. We'll see if we can make it that far. Okay, so what we have here is a reference sheet, which is really handy. This is going to tell us our dice rolls, so it's going to let us know if we land any of these particular ones, what we do with them. I'll talk about them as we hit them. This is the turn sequence, so the first thing we'll do is roll the dice. We'll go through that phase in a second. We'll do upkeep, then we'll adjust the unit marker. Then we'll do some recruiting, finding items and trading. We'll do some moving, and then finally combat. And you'll see how this all breaks out in a second. Also, this is one of the most important things to reference in the entire game, the dice results. So again, these dice are going to be custom engraved dice. They're going to look closer to something like this when they're finalized in the game. But as of right now, I have a whole bunch of red, white, and blue, and black regular D6 dice. So just be aware of that. I believe that they're going to be going that route in the final production copy. But for now, they've given us a nice legend to let us know what correlates to what. So, and we'll talk about that as I hit them. So we'll go ahead and start right away. This is my reference sheet. I'm going to be using dice, actually, my pool of dice here to actually count things and subtract things as I pay for them. And we'll start off. Now, the first thing you do is figure out where you're starting. We're obviously starting right here. So we're in sector number 1, which is going to have a defense value of 3. So at the end of our turn sequence in combat phase, we are going to have to pay 3 men worth of deaths, essentially, for being in this particular spot because of the gunfire obviously coming from the bunker. So we start off, it says here, with 4 individual men. So we're going to go ahead, I'm going to take a die, and we're just going to place 4 men beside the men position so that we know we have 4 of them to start. And right from the get-go, the first phase to do, or the first thing you do, is just roll the dice. And you'll see it says roll 6 dice, lock 2 dice, re-roll the rest up to 2 more times until you have your final tally. Okay, so here we go. We're going to take our dice. You're supposed to roll 2 red, 2 blue, 2 white. So we're going to roll those away. Now, all this is going to be nothing right now because you're probably wondering, well, what does that even mean? they mean a number of different things, and it really depends on your strategy. So you're trying to gain men, you're trying to gain, these are items, points. These ones here are medals, which are going to help you essentially try to, or courage I guess it's called, in order to actually advance from the sector that you're in, which this sector right here says it would cost 1 to move to the next sector. So we need at least 1 courage. And then stars are going to allow us to go into that deck we talked about earlier, the unique specialist deck, to pick things up. So as you can see with a roll like this, I've got a number of different options. One of the things you're looking for when you do a dice roll is you're looking to see if you land any of these special combinations. Now these are showing icons. Remember though that the icons correlate to a number. So for now we're going to be using the number system. So if we happen to land any of essentially red, white, and blue of say 1, if we were in this case we rolled 2 3s, so we got almost to having a blue 3 would have given us 3 of a kind. We come over here and find out what 3 is, and 3 is a 1 soldier boost. And then we come over here and find out what happens when you get 3 of them. In this case, we would gain 4 soldiers to your unit and 4 soldiers to another unit. So that's pretty cool, but again, doesn't apply to us because we only rolled this. Now we are allowed to lock 2 dice in on the first roll. So the question is, which 2 dice do we want to lock in? Well, it really depends on what your plan is. We know we need courage in order to get up the beachfront. So we're going to need, based on the legend here, we're going to need a 5. At least 1 5 to get up. And we do have 1 5, so I could lock this in if I wanted to hold on to it. But the other thing to make note of is that this is a white area right here, which means we can sit here for up to 3 turns at max. Once we get moving, when we get into these black areas, you're not only allowed to stay into them for 1 round. So you can sit here for 3 rounds and gather up resources by doing a full turn and then move forward. So in other words, we don't really need to gain that courage just yet to move forward, so I can reroll that. I might hold on to these 2, can hope that we can get that man advantage. So I'm going to go ahead and lock these 2 dice in. We're going to take all of these ones and we're going to roll them. Now the one thing to make note of is that you definitely do not want skulls. Skulls say right here that if in the final tally you have a skull, it's going to cancel another die, as you can see there. So you don't want skulls. You're trying to reroll your 1s as much as possible. So we landed, hey, look at that, we landed an extra 3. So we got that 3, which means we now have 3 of those, which is perfect. Now we are allowed to roll 1 more time, and we can choose to reroll or like keep as many dice as we want. I'm definitely keeping this one. I don't really necessarily need this again. We don't want a 1 for sure. Do we want a 6? 6 would be a tool. Let's take the tool. Let's reroll these 2 and see what we get. We got a 5 and a 4. There we go. It's a nice spread. So at the end of this, we got a tally of these 3. Let's start with these and resolve them. So the very first thing we got here with 3 of them would be the reinforcements one we talked about. So that's going to be adding 4 soldiers to your unit and 4 soldiers to another unit. If you're playing solo, you're only just adding 4 soldiers to your tally. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a 4, and now we've got 8 men here, which is great. Again, then you count them as individual dice. So I've now resolved the red, white, and blue combination, which we got here, but then you resolve them as actual individual dice or dies. So you're going to go ahead and here and say, what does a 3 give you? 1 soldier. So we're going to get 1 soldier for each of these 3, which is going to give us a total of 3 more soldiers. So now we have quite a band of soldiers, and these dice are resolved. Now we're going to come over here and take a look. We got 6, 4, 5. We'll go in order. So 4. A 4 is 2 more soldiers. So look at that, we're going up. We'll tick this up to a 6, and then we're going to resolve that die. Then we're going to go to 5. What is 5? 5's courage. Perfect. So we got our courage that we wanted. So now I can go down here and I can drop 1 courage, which means we can advance even next turn or this turn if we wanted. We got 6, which is relates to a tool. So we're going to get 1 tool. So we'll go ahead and put that there. And there we go. We've resolved all of the dice that we currently have. So the next thing you do after you do all of that, and you can see in the upkeep phase there, it says to collect all RWB bonuses, apply skull effects. If you rolled a straight, we already did that. We chose a reward. Record all our resources, we did that. So now we adjust the unit marker. So again, that's going to be, actually I'm trying to think of the unit marker. Oh yes, and sorry, we actually do have to have a die representing our actual person. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and we're going to say we're here. Every time I tick one of these up every round, it's going to be how many rounds we're in that space. And remember, with the white background here, we're allowed to be here for 3 rounds. If we're here, you have to get out in 1. So we can sit here for another round, so I'm just going to leave that there. Okay, so phase 4 is going to say recruit specialists, find items, and trade resources, draw rewards. So we can spend stars to recruit, we can spend item points, all that good stuff. So right now we don't have much. We only have one item point, which is not enough. We have some courage, tons of men, no stars. So really we don't want to do anything in that particular round. You can also see that awards, which would be these really fancy ones right here, cost 6 courage. we would need to get 6 courage and spend that in order to get that reward, which would be quite a bit. Okay, so, and it's a random draw too. So first we'll move. You can only stay up to 3 turns in any sector. As I mentioned, you can only move forward and advance laterally, or you can never visit the same sector twice, all that good stuff. So we'll skip past all that. I'm choosing not to move. I'm choosing to sit put because I'm allowed to be here for 3 rounds. So that's good. Now we're going to do our combat. How do we resolve that? You just take a quick look at your defense, which is 3, and that's how many men have died. So 3 men have just died, and I'm down to 10. And now technically we're going on to the next round, so I'll flip this over to 2 to say we're in our second round. So we're going to go ahead and re-roll our dice and see what we can do. Okay, so we know 1s are bad. We'll put that to the side. We've got 2 1s. That's even worse. We got a lot of stuff here that doesn't really bank off each other that much. But the one thing we do see is tools are handy. Do we have anything to get stars? Stars are 2. So as you can see here from the legend, stars are 2. We want stars. So let's take a star, lock that in, and let's take a tool and lock that in. And we're going to re-roll all 4 of these. And we got another 1 we don't want. We got a 5, a 3, and a 4. Well, that's an interesting spread for sure. It gives us a little bit of everything. We know it's going to cost us 3 men just to be here for this turn. So if I was to keep everything I've got here, a 3 would give me 1 man, a 4 gives me 2 men. So that would keep me equal in terms of my total men that I have. This 5 would give me another courage, which I don't necessarily need. So you know what? I'm gonna keep the 2 men one, and I'm gonna re-roll these 3. Let's see what happens. Oh, I got that cancel die. That sucks. Okay, so now this is the final tally. I cannot re-roll anymore. I had 1. I have a skull. It cancels another die, which I get to choose which one it cancels. This is a 4, which will give me more soldiers. I don't know. This is a 6. I'm going to cancel the tool, and I'm going to keep the men. So these 2 dice are useless now. We're going to resolve these in order. So we've got a 2 to start. The 2 gives me a star. So we're going to go ahead and uptick our stars to 1. Okay, that's great. We've resolved that. We're going to go to 4. 4 is going to be 2 more soldiers, so we're going to tick ourselves up to 6, and now we've got 12 soldiers. We're going to go to another 4, which is going to give us another 2, so we got to put 2 more right there, and then resolve that die. And then the last one is 6, which is a tool, so we'll tick our tool up to 2. All right, we're done there, and then we just resolve our combat. Our combat's going to be 3, so that's going to kill off 3 of our men. So we're going to knock 2 away and bring this down to a 5. So what we're doing is we're preparing to have as much men as possible before we get up the beachfront, because things are going to start happening. We gain certain good things as we move up and all that stuff, but for now, I'm just going to milk the fact that I can be here for 3 rounds and go from there. So now we get to re-roll, start over. I didn't choose to buy anything or do anything like that because we know that for items, you're going to need probably 5 tools at most to get anything, and we only have 2. Stars-wise, we probably need, I think the lowest is 2, I think, so we still need 1 more star before we can even buy our first specialist card. So let's keep hunting here. Ooh, we got a decent roll. These 2 could be good to keep because there's a potential we could get soldiers, but then I also want those stars. So I'm going to keep this for the star, because I really want stars. I also want tools. And do we have any 6s? We do not. Well, we're definitely re-rolling that. Maybe with these 3, what's the 4 again? 2 soldiers? I'll keep this one. So we're going to re-roll all of these. And there we go. So we got a couple tools there. That's not bad. We got a 1 that we don't want. We got a 4. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-roll. I'm going to keep this one and re-roll the 1. So here we go for our final tally. And what we're hoping for is this white will land as a white 6 or a white 4. Come on. Oh, okay, that's a cocked die. I have to do that again. 5. Okay. Didn't help me out, but whatever. We still get to keep all of our dice. Let's go through it. 2. 2 is going to be a star, so we're going to tick ourselves up to 2 right there. We're going to go to 4 here. 2 4s, actually. So those 2 4s will give us 4 soldiers total. It's pretty good. Then we're going to go to the 6s. We're jumping ahead, actually. Let's go to 5 for courage. That's good. So we got, oops. Oh, no, what have I done? I think I had 2 stars there. Courage is going to be at 2. I sure hope that's correct, and if it's not, let me know. But I think I just bumped that away. And then 2 6s. The 2 6s are going to give me 2 tools. So now we're up to 4 tools. That's good. We're getting some. Now the only thing you'll notice here now is that we can't be here anymore. So we're going to come to the move phase, although we technically get to recruit and all that good stuff right now. Can I do anything recruitment-wise? Can I even buy anything stars-wise? I can get a sharpshooter. So sharpshooters say may ignore a skull in your final tally. That's cool, I guess. Scouts or add 1 tool to your final tally. That's interesting. So it just always gives you a tool. Could be good. Corporal reroll 1 die in your final tally. Oh, that could be good. Now, the other thing you want to look at when you're buying these particular individuals is further up the battlefield. There's certain ones that require that you have an individual to move into it. It's called a requirement, it has a check mark. So you need one of these 3 to move, and I'm currently here. So depending on which one I pick up, you got to think about that in advance. So if I'm heading this way, let's say, if I wanted to go off this way because maybe I want stars more than I want tools, then maybe I want to pick up this or this. The question is how much. So I need the sharpshooter, essentially, because that matches up. Or I could take, for instance, the hero. But I don't have enough for the hero, so I'm going to take the sharpshooter for now because I can ignore a skull in my final tally. I don't know if I want that, to be honest. I kind of want the skull, or the scout, because it's going to give me a tool every time. So I'm going to take that. So we're going to pay for that. We're knocking this die away. 2 stars paid, and we got that there forever. And now we're going to go ahead and we have to move. We don't have a choice. We've run 3 rounds here. We have to move. So I'm going to be heading this direction because I want to get up to this area where I have a requirement. So we're going to move here. We can only be here for 1 round, so it's going to be a little bit tight. It's going to be very tight, actually. Do I want to do that? That's the question. Yeah, I'll do it. This is going to be dicey. Okay, so I've moved there, and then we're going to resolve combat. This is where it gets really nasty because now we're in a new sector. That sector costs 6 to be there, and of course it's going to knock us down by 6 guys. So now we're down to 9. So that was a really big hit going in there. All right, and of course we got to lose 1 courage for moving in, so we've dropped down to 1, and now we can continue on. So we're starting off the next round. So let's do our roll. See what happens. Okay, so what we really need to focus on here is we want stars, tons and tons of stars. So I've only got 1 blue 2 so far. That's okay. I don't really want tools necessarily right now. Courage we need because we can't stay here. We have to go to the next one. So we're going to need 2 courage. So these 2 are probably what we need to keep to ensure that we have enough courage. The downside being that... yeah, let's keep that. Oh, this sucks. Now I can't get a cool combination anymore. Let's see. 5, 5. Oh, wow, that's a lot. So there's a lot more courage, which we don't need. We got that silly skull that we don't need. A tool. I don't want any of that. That's all bad. So let's re-roll all of it. 1 last time. Oh, that's so bad. Okay, this one's a cocked die, kind of at an angle, so I'm going to re-roll it. Oh my goodness. That was terrible. So basically what's happening here is all 3 of these dice, they actually cancel out all 3 of these dice. So really that entire round was a wash. That's terrible. So at this point, oh, that's really terrible. Let's see. So at this point now we're doing upkeep. I get nothing in upkeep. I can't stay where I currently am. You must move out in phase 5. Do I have enough courage? I don't even have enough courage to move. So I guess I'm wondering whether I died just I'm not 100% sure if that's the end or not, but essentially if I don't have enough courage, I can't even move forward. I'm assuming I'm going to get canned here. Oh, I do still gain my tool, so I guess I should take that. The die never canceled that away, although that doesn't really help me. Technically, upkeep happened just now, so I could try to first buy something. Is there anything for 5 that's going to help me is the question. Walkie-talkie +2. No, I don't need 2 people. I need something like courage. Give me courage. No. Okay, so that doesn't help me at all. Do I have no stars to purchase any kind of unique individual to help me out? I'm in trouble. So from what I'm basing on the rules reference here, it says right here, you can see when it's a black sector there, it's considered a can't stay here. You must move out in phase 5. Well, phase 5 is right here, which is move, which is next. It says, let's see if it tells us, if you decide or are forced to move, you must fulfill all requirements, if any, of the new sector. If you move over landmines, see how many, okay, so I'm not hitting landmines yet. If you advance, spend the courage. indicated on the map. What if I can't advance though is the question, and I probably would have to look in the rule book for that. So what I'm going to probably do is I may end up doing 2 quick runs of this. So I've played this one all the way through to this point. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a second playthrough so you guys can get an even better idea, because I obviously didn't make it very far. But sometimes the dice are like that. Other times, I think one time when I played it, it was 2 days ago, I got to here before I got trampled. But that's pretty good, because things get really, really crazy as you go along. It's very, very interesting. Again, there's dice rolling, but there's ways to mitigate your dice rolls. And that's what I like about this game. I mean, in this case, when you're starting off so early, my terrible skull rolling over here was really hard to mitigate, because I didn't actually purchase many items or specialists at the time to be able to, you know, to make changes. When you're further on in the game, you can tailor essentially your squad with different individuals that'll help you to change those dice rolls and to kind of, yeah, essentially mitigate those terrible die rolls. But for me, being just on the beachfront, this was one of the most pathetic attempts at trying to get the bunker I've ever seen, at least for me anyway. So I'm going to stop here. What I'm going to do is, this is the first attempt. I'm going to do a second attempt, and we'll start it off right away in the next video. And because there's no explanation needed, we can just get right to the playthrough, and I can just see how far I get on the second attempt, and hopefully it's a lot further than this. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed the first demo of D-Day Dice. If you haven't checked out the Kickstarter, I'll put a link in the description below, and you can find out more details about essentially what's going to be included in this game, along with likely the rulebook and everything else. So until next time, guys, thanks for watching, and keep on rolling solo.